So you know how the male lead was supposed to stay back and the main character would go out to do the expedition to get rid of the three kings? Let's just say he tricked the male lead. He basically had his way with the male lead till the male lead was unconscious, had a carriage prepared with luxuries, put the male lead in the carriage, and then headed out for his expedition. This man, he's sneaky. He is not gonna be without his wife. He also has his wife to pretend to be somebody else, a strategist, so his wife can be there. Because again, his wife is not allowed to be there, but he's gonna have him. Obviously, the Melly doesn't get respect from the main character's men because again, they don't really respect hooty tooty, officials, and the main male lead is pretending to be an official. It's typically a strategist, so they have no respect for him. Even with the main character constantly growling at them and biting at them if they show him an ounce of disrespect. And one who does it the most is the ex-general. There's a reason why I call him the ex-general. It's not because he gets thrown out of the expedition, but he makes a mistake that gets him strip up his position later. But he is very snooty tooty towards the male lead until the male lead proves himself to him. How the male lead proves himself to this dude? So basically, the male lead notices what nobody else has noticed, which is that these guys do not have the correct funds. They do not have the supplies that they truly honestly need. They do not have the food that they need. The main lead knows the list of stuff they're supposed to have, and it does not fit what they do have. And he also notices that the horses are being poisoned and they could possibly die from the poisoning. And he's like, hey, do not kill these men, because the ex-general, he wants these men killed because he thinks these men are involved in the poisoning of the horses. And the male lead's like, let's make a bet. Let's make a deal. If I prove that what is going on, that these men are innocent, you will have to ride around shirtless on your horse. But if you are correct, I will be executed with these men. Now, the male lead will be able to back out of his side of the deal because he will be putting his fake name down and not his real name. So he safens out. And obviously, the male lead proves that he is correct. He proves that the injustice that is going on, which is that the Ministry of Review was basically snubbing them of their funds and had been doing it for several expeditions. They've been basically stealing money from the main character's expedition funds to cover their own pockets. And they were going to kill the horses so they can get extra funds to cover up their lies. This happened to the main character in his past life, where the Ministry of Reviews basically framed the main character for fraud and stealing of the funds. And the main character was the one punished for it when it was actually the Ministry of Review's people who was doing this. The main character gets hold of his brother, the second prince, who gets the help of the emperor to take care of the issue. And they get rid of the Ministry of Review and make the Vice Ministry of Review the Ministry of Personnel. If I'm correct, that's the position he gets. In the story, the guy who is married to the other male wife that we're introduced that owns the restaurant, yes, he gets a better position because in his past life, even though he was pushing for the main character, he was never able to get a higher position. And that's why the main character wanted one in his pocket, also wanted to help the guy get a better positioning higher up in it to the point he becomes the Ministry of Review or gets a higher position. The male lead, he checks through all the soldiers to see who can read and write correctly, and he chooses those people to replace the clerks they got rid of. Because again, those clerks were involved with the Ministry of Review and the whole stealing the money stuff. So they have to replace them, and they replace them with soldiers. So even though the second prince is investigating the case, he gets to a deadlock. Like, he gets rid of people here and there, but sadly, even when there's proof that the fourth prince is possibly involved, he can't actually prove it. It does make the emperor suspicious of the fourth prince, but sadly they can't do anything with the evidence they have against the fourth prince because it's not enough to actually prove him guilty. So they're stuck at a deadlock. This is what he informs the main character. So there's a man the main character really badly wants in his troops. Specifically, he wants him as his leading commanding general. So this man has a general who was just as impressive as an ancestor. And, over the time from becoming a general, he turned into a king bandit. His family became king bandits instead of a general because of the dynasty change. And let's just say his family didn't accept the change of dynasty, so they became king bandits instead. But now at this point, this dude is just a butcher. But the main character knows from his past life, this man is an intelligence warrior. Like, he led a group of his townspeople against a minister, a corrupt group of ministers, or just a corrupt minister, and protected his town from these people or this person. So the main character wants this guy's intelligence when it comes to military strengths and stuff. He wants this man as his general. So he takes the male lead with him down to this man's village to repeatedly pursue this man to become their general. And they even talk with his wife, who, wants him to become a general. She doesn't want him to stay as a butcher. Like, he had promised her father that he was a great bandit and that she'd live a life in luxury, but instead, she's just a butcher's wife. She wants more. She wants more for her husband. And so they use her to very much convince him to go out and serve in his military. So when they went to pursue the general, they got themselves a little tiger cub. There was a hunter who killed this tiger cub's mother, and the male lead was absolutely distraught over this, finding out that the hunter basically abandoned a bunch of cubs to their own after killing their mother. So they pay the hunter to go get the cubs. Only one cub was still alive by the time the hunter got to the cubs. Brought the cub to them. They named the cub Little Sunbeam, which is absolutely adorable. But, the main character is such a jealous man. This man drinks Vigoner like it's coming out of a lake. He is literally always picking a fight with the little cub. He's always trying to drag the cub away from the male lead. He's literally picking the cub up and tossing the cub somewhere else. Or just basically pinching and pulling on the cub when the cub is getting a little too close to the male lead. I don't wonder what he's going to be like if they have children, like if they adopt children. He's going to literally be picking a fight and being jealous over his own kids. I am worried about this because this man can't handle anyone looking at his wife a certain way. Anyone being too close to his wife. I mean, when the ex-general tries petting the male lead on the shoulder after the advice the male lead gave him for one of their fights, he literally grabbed hold of the dude's wrist. Or when he saw the dude trying to sling his shoulder over the male lead during a drinking party, he punched the dude in the face and sent the dude tumbling to the ground, and then literally kicked the dude who was on the ground after he picked up his wife and walked away. This is how jealous the main character is. He is a jealous man drinking Vigoner out of barrels. Not even barrels, like I said, out of a lake.